This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
The Gemara says in Masechta Megillah, Daf Daled Amud Aleph, I'm Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Rabbi Shua ben Levi says, Chayiv Adam Likros es Megillah b'layla v'lashnois b'yom. Person's obligated to read the Megillah in the nighttime and l'shnoisa b'yom. At first, the Gemara does not identify what does it mean v'lashnoisa b'yom. Shenemar Elokai ekra yoimam v'loy sana v'layla v'loy dumiyali. Ribbon Shalom. This comes from Parak Chaf Beis of Tehillim. Parak Chaf Beis in Tehillim was said by Esther Hamalka, Keli Keli Lama Azavtani Lam Natseach Al Ayelas Hashachar Mizmar LeDavid. Esther is being compared to Ayelas Hashachar. The Gemara Numa says Lama Nimshala Esther Le Ayelas Hashachar. The Gemara says just like the Ayelas Hashachar, the Shachar is the morning star is the end of the night, so too Esther was the last miracle. So in that parak, Esther says, Ribbono Shel Olam, I call out during the day and you don't answer me, and at night, and there's no respite. By the way, just on the Havamina of the Gemara, it's very interesting. Rashi says over here, Ekra, this is in the Mizmar Lamatzach Al Yelas HaShachar, and Rashi says something very interesting. Esther's compared to Ayelas HaShachar, and the Gemara somehow is learning out Mikra Megillah from a pasuk of Tefillah. Esther doesn't say, listen to this, Esther doesn't say, I read the Megillah during the day and at night. Esther says, I cry out to Hashem during the day and at night. Somehow we're learning out Mikra Megillah from Esther's Tefillah, as if Mikra Megillah is patterned after Tefillah. We actually see an interesting halacha that Mikra Megillah has a din of Tefillah. There's a Magen Avram. What's the halacha if you have no minyan? If you have a minyan, then somebody could read the Megillah with a minyan and be mitzi the tzibur, whether people know how to lay in the Megillah, people don't know how to lay in the Megillah. But what if you don't have a minyan? What if you don't have a minyan? Could one person be mitzi 7 people, or 5 people, or 3 people? So then it depends. If they don't know how to lay in the Megillah, he can be mitzi them. If they do know how to lay in the Megillah, he cannot be mitzi them. That's the psak of the Mechaber. So why would that be? Why would you not be able to be mitzi people who know how to lay in the Megillah? By shofar, let's say, if everyone knows, let's say you have 6 people, and they know how to blow shofar, you could be mitzi them in Tkiyah shofar. Why can't you be mitzi them in the Megillah? The Magen Avram says, from the Mechaber we see that Mikra Megillah is like Tefillah. And just like Tefillah, you could only be mitzi a baki if there's a minyan. So to Mikra Megillah, you can only be mitzi a baki if there's a minyan. So you see that Mikra Megillah, in a certain sense, has a din of Tefillah, maybe because the makar of Mikra Megillah is the pasuk by the Tefillah of Esther. Okay, that's just a side point. So the Gemara says, according to Rabbi Shua ben Levi, you have to read the Megillah in the night and v'lashnoisa b'yom. The Gemara says, Savar mina l'makaria b'lelia u'lemisna masnisan dedabi yamama. The Gemara says they thought it meant you read it at night and you learn the Mishnah during the day. Amar hu Rabbi Yirmiyah l'didi mefarshi li'minei Rabbi Chia bar Abba k'goy na'amri inchi evar parshasa dava asnei. It doesn't mean to learn the Mishnah, but rather it means to repeat. Like people say, I'll read this parsha and I'll repeat it. And then the Gemara, by the way, cites another pasuk comparing Mikra Megillah to Tefillah. The Gemara says it, Marnami, Amar Rabbi Chelboy, Amar Ula Bira, Chayiv Adam Likros Has Megillah B'Layla, V'Lashnois B'Yom, Shenemar, Leman, Yizamercha, Chavoid, V'Lo Yidaim. V'Lo Yidaim is B'Yom V'Layla. Fine, that's the Gemara. Comes Tosfos, and Tosfos quotes the Ri. The Ri Hazakin. Amari. Okay, now that we know you have to read the Megillah during the night and the day, and presumably when you read the Megillah at night, you're going to make a shachiano. The shah is, do you make another shachiano during the day? After all, why should you make another shachiano during the day? It's not like, let's say, shofar. Maybe there's a sveika d'yoma. Maybe what I did yesterday wasn't a mitzvah. It's the same day. So presumably, if you're going to make the shachiano at night, you shouldn't make another Shachianu. So Tosfos says no. Oimari, the afa gav the mavarch zman b'layla, choizer mavarch choysa b'yayim. You do repeat the Shachianu. Tosfos says a number of reasons. Number one, the ikar persume nisa hava b'kriya diyamama. The main persume nisa is the day reading. How do you know the day reading? Because everyone's here at night. Must be the Yetzer Hara is not as interested in stopping people to come at night as during the day. It must be the day is the ikar. Now that's just pointing out. Everyone packs in the night. Ladies are makbid to come to shul at night. During the day, they rely on some, 18-minute minyan where the guy's reading every fifth word. But the ikar laning is the day laning. So therefore, even though you said a shachianu at night, but the ikar kriya is b'yayim. So therefore, the shachianu you make at night is not going to cover b'yayim. That's the first svar of Tosfos. Number two, ukranami mashma kain. The pasuk is mashma. The ikar is during the day. Why? Because it says ekra Elikai ekra yoimam first, and then v'layla v'loy dumi ali. Koloimar af agav shekar b'yoim chayiv likros v'layla v'ikar have b'yamama kivan she'eskira kasav tchila. Tosfos says another reason why the day is the ikar. It's mashma in the pasuk. First it talks about the kriyas hayoim, and then it talks about the kriyas halayla. Yeah, and then finally says Tosfos, we know that Mikra Megillah is compared to the Suda. How do we know Mikra Megillah is compared to the Suda? It says Nizkarim and Asim. There's a hekesh between the Zechira and the Asiya. The Asiya is the Suda. The Zechira is Mikra Megillah. And Ikar Suda is B'yayim because Achal Suda B'layla Lo Yatsa. So if the Ikar Suda B'yayim, the Ikar Megillah is B'yayim. V'gam the Ikar Suda B'yamamahu. Kedamar La Kaman Dim Achal B'layla Lo Yatsi Dei Chayvasai. V'achinami mashma midachsiv nizkarim b'nasim v'iskesh zechira la'asiya ma'ikar asiya b'yamama av zechira kain. So Tosfos gives basically 3-4 reasons why the if you make a shachianu in the night, you need to repeat it during the day. Number one, ikar persumeni says the day. Number two, the pasuk says the day first. That means the ikar laning is in the day. Number three, the ikar suda is during the day. And since the asiya is compared to the zechira, the ikar megillah is during the day. Okay, that's Tosfos. L'char, that makes a lot of sense. So even though you said shachianu v'kiyanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh, Rebbeinu Shalom, I already reached this occasion, but during the day it's a new occasion. It's a more elevated occasion. So you make another shachianu. So Tosfos seems very compelling. However, the Rambam argues on Tosfos. I don't know what you have on your sheets. I just threw out a few Maramakaimais.
Whatever's not supposed to be here or is here by mistake is my fault.
No, it's good.
We got the Rambam.
You have the Rambam and you have the Bir Agra?
Yeah. Got the Gra at the bottom.
Fine. Yeah. Very good. So comes the Rambam, and the Rambam Parak Aleph of Hilchos Megillah Halacha Gimel says mitzvah l'kroisa kula, mitzvah l'kroisa b'laylo v'yoyim, u'mevarech kaidim kriyasa b'layla shalish brachais, asher kisham soitz v'tzvanu, shasa nisim, shachianu, says the Rambam, u'b'yoyim einoi chayzim rach shachianu. You don't make a shachianu during the day. The question is, Tosfos has a very compelling argument that you should make another shachianu. After all, the ikar kriya is the day, so just because you made a shachianu at night, so what, you made a shachianu at night, but you haven't yet reached the main occasion. Tosfos has a compelling reason that you should make another shachianu. So the Bir Hagra is one of the most concise mafarshim that you'll ever find. The Bir Hagra tries to explain what is the basis for the Shita of the Rambam, that even though the Ikar reading, in other words, you might say, if I'm not mistaken, there's a Shita of the Rekeach, that the Ikar Kriya is Balayla. There's such a Shita. Rekeach says the Kriya is...
It's from the Gemara, because the Shnoise Bayoim sounds like... Second teretz of Torah is very schwer. Mashma from the Gemara is that the Shnoise Bayoim, it's the Ibn Gechazah, the secondary is Bayoim.
You want to say the word Lishnoisa implies it's only the second time around? Well, we'll come back to that in the end of this year. Lamaisa, the pasuk says, the pasuk does say it first, and it is iskash to Zechir. In other words, the Rakech is a very big chiddush to say that Ikar is Balayla. Now, I want to ad kedei kach, by the way, that Tosfos Shita is so compelling that the Iker Kriyas B'Yoyim is that there's a shaila in the Achronim that the Kriyas Halayla may not even be midivrei Kabbalah. It might not even be midivrei Nevi'im. We know Mishlach Manos is mentioned in the Megillah. Matan Sovyan is in the Megillah. Suda is in the Megillah. It doesn't say in the Megillah to read the Megillah at night. You know who says to read the Megillah at night? Rabbi Shua ben Levi, not the Mordechai Esther. So many Achronim say that the Kriyas HaMegillah B'Layla is not midivrei Nevi'im, it's only midrabanan from Rabbi Shua ben Levi. So what would the nafkamina be whether Kriyas B'Layla, by the way, you know who says that? The Shagas Aryeh says that in the Turei Even. Kriyas Halayla is only derabanan. The Noda B'Yehuda writes in the Tshuva, Kriyas Halayla is only midrabanan. What would the nafkamina be whether it's midivrei Nevi'im or midrabanan? There would be many, many nafkaminas. One nafkamina.
It's all Rabbanan.
What?
The day is Rabbanan?
Absolutely not. The day is not the Rabbanan. The day is midivrei Nevi'im. It's from the Nevi'im. So what's the difference between Nevi'im and the Rabbanan? I'll tell you 9 nafkaminas. Now I'm not going to tell you all of them, but I'm going to give you a few examples. The Mishnah Berurah brings out from the Pri Megadim. What would the halacha be during the day if you're mesupik if you read the Megillah or not? So you say, what do you mean? Savik Rabbanan Lakula. No, it's not the Rabbanan. It's from the Nevi'im. It's called Divrei Kabbalah. Divrei Kabbalah ke Divrei Torah damya. So if you're mesupik if you read the Megillah during the day, you would have to read it again. But if you're mesupik if you read the Megillah at night, Savik Rabbanan Lakula, Pri Megadim says. That would be one nafkamina. Another nafkamina, the Ran says that we know Kfarim Makdimim Liyam HaKnisa. But maybe they were never masakein that when the Kfarim are Makdim Liyam HaKnisa, they read the Megillah at night. Taka the Ran has it sad that when the Kfarim are Makdim Liyam HaKnisa, they only read it during the day. They don't even read the Megillah at night b'chlal. Okay, there are many, many nafkaminas. Some Achronim, I happen to think Tosfos is mashma that the Kriyas Halayla is midivrei Nevi'im. Because Tosfos says, if you make a Shechianu at night, you still make Shechianu during the day, because the Iker Persume Nisa is the day. Tosfos should have said, because the night is only D'Rabbanan, and the day is midivrei Nevi'im. Why didn't Tosfos say black and white? That the Shechianu of the night won't cover the day, because the day is an entirely different level. It's not a different level, but it's more primary. So it's a big Machlokes in the Achronim. There are many, many nafkaminas. You know, I had a nafkamina. I'm not sure if it's physically possible, but just like imagine the following case with like time zones, or with like this. You know, imagine if you're on one side of the mountain, where it's the night, and on the other side of the mountain it's already the day. Could a Bal Koirei in the night be moitzi the people who it's the day? No, not according to the Shagas Aryeh and
International Dayline.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, the international dateline, it's not Purim b'chlal. If one is on one side and one, yeah, you could come up with a case maybe where for one guy it's midrabanan and the other guy it's midivrei Nevi'im according to the Shagas Aryeh. Okay, so but we're trying to faran for the Rambam. What's the pshat? The Rambam holds that if you make a Shechianu at night, it is going to cover the day. After all, the Iker reading is the day. The night is secondary. So comes the Bir Hagra. You have the Bir Hagra? The Bir Hagra in Ois Beis, Siman Taf Reish Tzadi Beis, Ois Beis. Says the Bir Hagra, Ha'isa Afa Gav the Iker Zman B'Yayim. Even though the Rambam would concede that the Iker reading is during the day. Kamay Shekasav Sham Mikamakoim Kivan Shabirech Balayla Yatsa. If you make Shechinu at night, it's Yatsa. Says the Gra, what's the analogy? Deloi gara meyem birech asuka velulav b'shas asiyah. It's no less, it's no worse than if you make a bracha on a sukkah or a lulav when you make it. V'chein lechatchila yesh levarach b'layla u'mishaberch b'layla ena mevarach b'yayim kamay sukkah. Says the Gra, avada the kriyas halayla is secondary to the kriyas hayom. So then why does the Shechianu of the night cover the day if the Iker reading is the day? The answer, says the Gemara, is very simple. There's a Gemara in Sukkah on Daf Mem Vav. The Gemara in Sukkah says, even though the mitzvah is sitting in the Sukkah, the mitzvah is taking the lulav. But Midina de Gemara, when do you make a Shechianu? You make a Shechianu when you tie the lulav. You make a Shechianu when you build the Sukkah. Says the Gra. Is there a mitzvah to tie a lulav? There's no such mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah. Is there a mitzvah to build a sukkah? There is no mitzvah to build a sukkah. It's not a mitzvah. Absolutely not a mitzvah. It's not one of the 613 or any subsidiary mitzvah. There is no mitzvah to build a sukkah. There is no mitzvah to tie a lulav. And yet, if you make a shechianu on tying the lulav or building the sukkah, it works for the mitzvah. And building or tying, it's not even a mitzvah. So kol shekain. If you make a shechianu on the reading of the night, which is a mitzvah, it's just secondary to the kriyas hayom, certainly that shechianu, meaning if a shechianu on a non-mitzvah is effective for something later that's a mitzvah, certainly if you make a shechianu on something which is a secondary mitzvah, it should be effective for the actual mitzvah. That's how the Gra defends the Rambam. It's not that the Rambam disagrees with Tosfos. It's not that the Rambam holds that the Kriyas Halayla is on par with the Kriyas Hayom. You might have said, maybe the Rambam disagrees with Tosfos. Maybe the Rambam holds Kriyas Halayla and Kriyas Hayom are equal, and therefore you make a shechianu at night. It would cover the day. No. The Rambam holds Kriyas Halayla is secondary, just like Tosfos. But even though the Rambam holds it's secondary, if you make a shechianu on the night, it would work for the day. Why? What precedent is there that you can make a shechianu on something which is not as important and it covers something which is ikar mitzvah? The precedent is igud halulav and asiyas hasukah. Azoizak the Gra.
Zustand tzorchen a little bit, because there you're preparing for it's what the Gemara calls the max the hechsher mitzvah. Is you need it for the mitzvah. Over here, the fact you're reading it by night is not preparing you for the day.
Okay, so let's turn the tables a little bit. Because Tosfos also knows the Gemara in Sukkah, and the Rambam has just solidified. The Gra has solidified the Rambam so well based on the Gemara in Sukkah that what's Tosfos going to say back to that? In other words, before your point, okay? In other words, here we have a Gemara in Sukkah that seems to say that a shechianu on something that's not ikar is effective for the ikar. So that puts the Rambam in very strong ground that if you make a shechianu at night, it should work for the day. So ma nana Tosfos to the Gemara in Sukkah. Tosfos also knows Shas. So how's Tosfos? I mean, the Gra has just solidified the Rambam Shita. What is Tosfos going to say back to that? What's your name?
Emmanuel Patkas.
What?
Emmanuel Patkas.
Okay, so Rabbi Emmanuel is saying that Tosfos would say back as follows. Tosfos would say that you want to say that the Kriyas Halayla is loy gara than something which is not mitzvah at all. Listen to the words of the Gra. The Gra is saying, well, to make a shechianu on the night, it's not worse than making a shechianu on tying a lulav and building a sukkah. Meaning the argument of the Gra is, it's not worse than, it's better, because that's even a mitzvah. Kriyas Halayla is even a mitzvah, but tying a lulav and building a sukkah is not even a mitzvah. So it's not worse, right? At first glance, it would seem it's better. It's better because it's actually a mitzvah. So certainly shechianu would worse. So Emmanuel is saying, no, just the opposite. It is gara. Because it's not a mitzvah, so what is it? So why does shechianu work? Let's think for a moment. Why could you make a shechianu on igud halulav or asiyas hasukah if it's not a mitzvah? How does it connect to the asiyas mitzvah? What do you mean, how does it connect? It's gufa because it's not a mitzvah. It's a preparation for the actual mitzvah. So it's a hechsher mitzvah. The Netziv has a chidush that, why is it that people bake matzos, build sukkos, but you never heard of people making a shofar? You ever hear what are you doing? It's Rosh Chodesh Elul. The shul went to chop off horns. Do you ever hear people going to make shofarais? Or did you ever hear, what's the inyan? So the Netziv says it's hechsher mitzvah haksuva bekra. There is no mitzvah to tie a lulav. There is no mitzvah to build a sukkah. But the Torah speaks about building a sukkah. So any preparation that's mentioned in the Chumash is a higher level of preparation, and hence there's an inyan to do it. It's not a mitzvah. It's called it's a hechsher mitzvah, but normally hechsher mitzvah, don't, if someone else could do it, let someone else do it. But hechsher mitzvah ksuv b'kra, if you could do it, you should do it yourself.
I should build my own house because there's a mitzvah to build mezuzah.
No. What? Kisiv nebayis, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why Jews are in construction. I say, in America, all the Jews go to Miami because it says Avram is halach v'nasaya hanegba. So, no, but it has to be not just ksuva b'kra. Hechsher mitzvah haksuva b'kra. Building a house is not a hechsher mitzvah for mezuzah. Building a sukkah is a hechsher mitzvah for yeshiva sukkah.
Building a roof is a hechsher mitzvah for makkah.
No. It's a creation of a heichi timtzah to have a makkah. Yeah, so it's not. So it's. When you do, building a house is not a hechsher mitzvah. It's a creation of a circumstance.
Rashi comes back to shofar. Shofar is a full chiyuv. How are you going to get a shofar without creating one? It's full chiyuv. Why is it not?
The answer is a shofar is avada. It's a hechsher mitzvah. It's just not hechsher mitzvah haksuva b'kra. So by kisivna bayis, it's ksuva b'kra, but it's not hechsher mitzvah. By shofar, it's a hechsher mitzvah, but it's not ksuva b'kra. Making matzah is both the asiyas cheftza shel mitzvah and it's ksuva b'kra. That's the chiddush of the Netziv. But that's not the topic of the shir. The question is, what Rabbi Manuel was saying, l'chayra is what Tosfos would say back to the raya of the Rambam that the Gra brings. That in other words, indeed, the kriyas ha-Megillah b'layla is gara from tying a lulav and building a sukkah. You see, tying a lulav is not a mitzvah. So what is it? The answer is, it's a preparation for the yeshiva b'sukkah. It's a preparation for the lekichas lulav. So since it's a preparation for it, it is reasonable to make the shechianu from when that mitzvah begins. When does that mitzvah begin? When you start preparing for it. When do you start preparing to sit in the sukkah? When you build the sukkah. When do you start preparing to shake the lulav? When you tie the lulav. But you wouldn't say that you start to read the Megillah b'yayim when you read it at night, because reading the Megillah at night is a mitzvah b'fnei atzma. So how could you make a shechianu in the night, and it connect to the day? It's a totally separate mitzvah. In no way are you it's not a preparatory stage. In other words, the Gra's argument is, well, actually doing a mitzvah at night can't be worse than not doing a mitzvah at all by tying a lulav or by building a sukkah. So we say back, no, what do you mean? Because it's a mitzvah, it is worse. Because it's a mitzvah, it's an independent stage. So if it's an independent stage, the shechianu you make at that independent stage can't then cover a second stage. But when the first stage is not independent, it's preparatory, then it is reasonable to make the shechianu by the preparatory stage and to cover the later stage.
Does the shechianu by Asiyah Sukkah cover the yomtiv, the shechianu of yomtiv?
No.
You have to make another shechianu on Sukkahs for yomtiv, or that's also covered?
Yeah.
What do you say?
I think it's covered. If you made a shechianu on Asiyah Sukkah, then you don't make a shechianu on the first night of Sukkah.
No, you have to make
Or you have to make another shechianu.
Yeah, the shechianu is going on both. The mitzvah
Well,
of sukkah and the yom tov.
Even if we our minhag, that the shepherd on the first night, but the mitzvahs past the second day's mitzvahs, we still make a shepherd on the second night. The yom tov is clone. So the shepherd on the mitzvahs past the yom tov.
Right.
Yeah, whatever, but that's...
Yeah, but Sveika D'Yoma...
is only for yom tov.
Correct. That's the key. That's the key. Sveika D'Yoma is only for the Yom Tif. But for the Asiyas HaSukkah, even if it wasn't Yom Tif the first day, that's loy gara than if you would have made it Erev Yom Tif on the Asiyas HaSukkah.
So if he didn't shake the lulav on the first day, it was a bracha levatzal and nafreah. She does what you're saying. It was only a hechsher if he's going to use it for the mitzvah. If he didn't use it for the mitzvah, then...
I mean, if he didn't shake the lulav b'chlal over the whole Yom Tif, yeah, then it was a bracha levatzal. Yeah. So now the question is, L'chayra, we've we've burst the bubble of the raya of the gra. In other words, the gra says, that the Rambam holds that making a shachiyanu on the night is loy gara than asiyas hasukah and igud halulav. So we say, what's the gra? The mechilas. What are you saying? There's no comparison whatsoever. By asiyas hasukah, you're preparing for the yeshivas hasukah. By laying in the night, you're not preparing for the day. So a friend of mine, Rabbi Aaron Jacobi, brought to my attention, there's an etziv. And the etziv is medayik in the lashon of the Gemara, v'lishnoisa b'yoyim. Why does the Gemara refer to, you read it at night, okay, I understand, the kriyas halayla is only either midrabanan or midivrei neviim but not ikar, and the ikar is b'yoyim. But why does the Gemara refer to the ikar kriya as v'lishnoisa and you do it a second time? Do you ever refer to an ikar as a second time? So the Netziv says, if the ikar is b'yoyim, why do we have a mitzvah at night? Let's say according to the Shitas that at night is only midrabanan. Why were the Rabbanan masakin another reading? Why? Mordechai Esther were masakin another reading. Why did the Rabbanan say, no, it's not good enough to read it during the day. We want you to read it at night. So the Netziv is medayik in the lashon of the Gemara that v'lashnoisa implies that Chazal wanted the ikar reading to be the second reading. Because when you do something a second time, it's a totally different level than when it's the first time. Everybody knows in learning, you read a Gemara the first time, it looks Chinese. All of a sudden you read it again, it's like everything opens up. Then Netziv says they were masaking the first reading, so that when you come to the second reading, you read it and you're familiar with it, so you could be medayik and you could understand it and you could connect with it more. In other words, the reason avada, the ikar reading, is the day, and the night is either only midrabanan or midaraisa but not ikar. But the Rambam would say, still, you could make a shechiyanu and I know cover the day. But it's not comparable to asiyas hasukah and igud lulav because there you're preparing. No, the purpose of the night reading is to prepare for the day reading. Where do we see that? V'lishnoisa, the Chazal wanted the second reading to be a second reading. That's why they were masaking the night reading. They're masaking the night reading so that the day reading would be a second time. So it comes out that really the first reading is a preparation. And it is comparable to Asiyas HaSukkah and Igud Lulav. That would be perhaps the pshat in the Rambam. That's all I got for you. Yeah? Yeah? That's all. What? The Netziv is in the Hamek Shela, Shilta Samach Zayin Oisiyad Gimel. What?
If you've got a Megillah by night, Tosfos, you take it away from you one day. You read the Megillah by night.
Say that again.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.